Hola amigos y amigas, bienvenidos nuevamente a este espacio. Estamos acompañados por un nuevo luchador que accedió al llamado y en esta vez se trata de Fancy Ryan Clancy, luchador americano. Él está actualmente de gira con Marvelous en Japón. Welcome Ryan, it's nice to have you here.
Very, very happy to be here and talk to you today. I know you mentioned before we have a lot to talk about, and just happy to give some of my understanding and my experience to hopefully a whole lot of new fans and people around the world.
You've been doing your thing in the US, also in Europe. You've also have been doing stuff related to wrestling, but outside the wrestling business, which is kind of cool too. And we also want to talk about you. So, are you ready for some questions?
Uh, let's do it. I'm excited.
Thank you so much. Let's start literally with the beginning. So, please, can you tell us when and why did you decide to become a pro wrestler?
Absolutely, right? I feel like this is par for the course, right? It's a good thing to talk about on a lot of these interviews and a lot of things that I've spoke on before. But the understanding that I always try to give is that it's really important to follow whatever it is that you love. I believe that every single person in the world has something. They have that one thing in their heart that is speaking to them from a very young age, that this is what you're meant to do. This is what is for you, right? So I'm just a man who decided to act on that feeling. I'm no different than anybody else. Since I can remember, and I was a little boy, probably 3 years old, my first memory of being alive was watching wrestling. It's always been a part of me, and I've just never questioned it and just decided once the time was right to act on it.
You had most of your experience in the US, which is the country where which you are from, and especially you've been champion in Wrestling Open or Beyond, which is
Yes.
also another name they use. So, can you tell us about your experience in the US scene, especially in this place?
Oh, absolutely. I've learned over the years and over the course of my career so far that, life is really what you make of it, right? So there's, of course, been some struggle and some inconsistencies and some hardships that every single one of us faces as a wrestler, as a human being. But above all else, you need to cultivate the understanding that wherever you go, you're going to be great. And I've been lucky enough to have a lot of great people on the independent scene around me who have also grown and experienced so much. And that's something that I'm very, very grateful for, especially with my time at Beyond and Wrestling Open, just because it started out as kind of this island of misfit toys kind of project. Like, it was a bunch of us young, hungry wrestlers who weren't really given a chance by a lot of places. We were all fairly new in our careers, but we were all really ready. We were ready for an opportunity. We were just looking for it. And all at once, a lot of guys like myself, Miracle Generation, Ichiban, TJ Crawford, we all were very, very hungry for this opportunity and that we were given. And we kind of just had the courage to be ourselves and take the ball and run with it. So when it comes to the American and US indie scene, I found that we actually have a very, very strong community of like-minded individuals who really, really want to see ourselves and each other succeed. And I think that's what life is really about, is community. We can uplift each other, and there's definitely plenty for all of us to eat.
It's nice to know that they have this sense of community, trying to help each other grow together. Something important, especially in the indie scene, because many promotions are small size. But then you also had done some mainstream stuff. You had worked some gigs for AEW and Ring of Honor. You even wrestled with Nick Wayne, who is right now the ROH World TV champion and just competed in Japan.
Yes.
Same like you. So how was that experience? Working this like a massive size of a promotion.
Well, first of all, I truly believe that Nick is probably one of the best wrestlers in the world right now. I think he just showed that, especially in his performance with Best of Super Juniors over here in Japan, with New Japan Pro Wrestling. And just for me to be able to have that experience and to hang in there, and to not only hang in there, but excel in a match like that in front of, tens of thousands of people with many more watching at home. I wish I could say that I was nervous, but to be honest with you, I was very comfortable. I knew that this is a place exactly where I belong, and I'm confident enough in my abilities and my training and my dedication. There's going to be a bunch more opportunities like that for me very, very soon.
Cool. Crossing fingers for that. Wishing you all the best. And also, you had experienced Europe, which is something that helps, people from America to grow. Because if you wrestle, I have talked with about this with some indie talent from America, and they always say that you have to go back to the 80s, to the 90s, to the early 2000s, when you had like the people that then became legends. They remember Brian Danielson, they remember Chris Jericho, people that they were not just comfortable in their, comfort zone. They travel the world, experience other styles, other people, other cultures, and that helps them grow as a wrestler and as a person. So you
Absolutely.
experience, for example, WXW, which is one of the biggest promotions in Europe, and I will say in the world. They had some of the best world champions ever. Some of them are even on TV right now, like, for example, Gunter or
Yeah.
Walter at the time. And you also wrestle in France. So how was that experience in Europe for you?
I'm very grateful for my experience with WXW. I was there. I've been there 3 times in the past year, actually. Being a part of 16 Carat, of some of the earlier matinee shows the last 2 years, and also a tour with them in November, where I got to wrestle in a sold out Mark in Hamburg. That was just, the energy in that room was incredible, incredible. And I think it goes back to what you just mentioned. Is a very important piece that I would like to speak on a little bit, is just the importance, like you said, of getting out of your comfort zone, right? Most people, they seek stability or comfort or some sort of like relaxation, retirement in a way, I think their whole lives. But once they actually grasp that and get that, I find from my research and my understanding that no, you're not really happy. So I'm very lucky that I discovered that at a very young age, through certain life experiences that I had been through. And I just apply what I had learned about my life to how I view wrestling. And I had looked, like you said, to the people that had come before me that I look up to, and seen that, they put themselves in uncomfortable positions where maybe no one would know who they are, or they wouldn't speak the language, or things might not be exactly ideal. But on the other side of that, what truly matters is the person that you become. And I'm lucky enough at 26 years old to have wrestled and traveled the world against some of the very best wrestlers in the world, and become one of those myself. So I'm going to continue to do so, learn every single day. The work does not stop.
I think that's an important message. Usually, we, like you mentioned, it's easier for us to seek for stability, to try to live comfortably, but the world is changing. It's so fast, and we might not be ready for the challenges of the future. So, experiences other places, other people. Like in this case specifically, I believe you don't speak Japanese at all, right?
Shoto.
Choto dake. Well, that's something to experience. Live over there 3 months or more in some cases. So let's start with this experience. Was this your first time in Japan?
Yes, this has been my first time in Japan.
Okay. Well, like I mentioned at the start, you are now touring with Marvelous, which is
Mm.
one of the organizations for pro wrestling in Japan. This organization is led by Chigusa Nagayo, who is a legend in the pro wrestling business worldwide, not only Japan. So, how did this happen? Touring with Marvelous, and how has been your experience so far?
Sure, yeah. So it's a bit of a funny story, right? And it's kind of like back to what I talked about earlier about the comfort and stuff like that. I feel I have a strong sense of alignment with who I am and my intuition. And I had seen something on Twitter that I got sent by like 2 or 3 people about the tryouts that they do with West Coast Pro. And I didn't even think about it. I just, went to the tryout. I didn't even think about it. I didn't expect anything. And I was fortunate enough that my action and my work spoke for itself. And I was chosen for the opportunity. to come here along with some other people who were also chosen through West Coast Pro, and being able to represent that company back in America is something that I'm very grateful for, especially being from the East Coast, that they have the faith in me to, only really know me as a competitor and not really as a man, to have that faith that I will represent them professionally and respectfully means the world to me. So, um, I did the tryout. I did my due diligence. I worked hard, and I got chosen and got to meet with Nagayo-san, with Chigusa and Scott, who runs West Coast Pro, and it happened very quickly. And since coming here, I've been able to get in the best shape of my life, wrestle a lot against a lot of really cool people, and matches that I didn't even expect, and appear in magazines and certain other media, and just craziness, things when you don't expect things, the most beautiful things happen always. It always turns out better than you ever could have imagined, and I'm very lucky to be in the positions that I am, and the position that I am here at Marvelous, with all the wonderful wrestlers that they have and wonderful people like Chigusa that they have here. It's just, you can feel the energy when you step into the dojo here, and it's very positive, and it cultivates a very good experience for the fans and the wrestlers involved.
There's been many foreigners like you that have been over the years on Marvelous, and they always speak so well of their experience. It's it can be intimidating, work under a legend, like literally a legend. So
Yeah.
it's great that you've been having such a good time. And then something that happened this week is that you competed at Marvelous Impact, which was the first show of the male focused division, because for people that don't know, Marvelous is mostly focused on women's wrestling.
Yeah.
So how was your experience on this first show?
Oh, it was last night actually. It is, I believe, about 1:30 here in Japan in the afternoon. It was last night, and the energy. We were actually in Kiba first ring, and it was my second or third time competing in that venue, and just the atmosphere of that building has something very special to it. I was lucky enough to be the first match on the card, but unfortunately, I came up a little bit short against Takumi Baba, who I believe holds a few championships for 0-1 at the moment, but definitely held my own, and definitely gonna just continue to improve, not take personally any loss or anything like that, and just continue to get better, because that's really what this is all about, is just getting better. I truly believe that nobody in the world has my work ethic and has my understanding and my aptitude for learning, and that's what's going to continue to set me apart. But I have to reiterate that I'm no different than anybody else. Anybody else can do what I do, in a sense of they have to want to do it.
Were you surprised when people started chanting your name? Well, specifically, they were chanting Fancy or Fancy, since the first show. Did you expect that?
I don't want to come off as arrogant in any way, but I'm very confident in my wrestling and in my abilities in the ring. And I believe that the confidence that I have in myself inwardly, right? Because I believe so much in myself, it's expressed outwardly in my presence and in my energy, that no matter where I am, they could speak any language. And I truly believe that I would be able to have a connection, because no matter where you are in the world, each and every one of us are all the same. We all have the same understanding somehow, whether it be, different backgrounds that we come from, different upbringings, different traumas that we experience. We all have the privilege of being human beings. And at the end of the day, I think that's so powerful, that energy and presence above all else is the universal language in a way. Despite the language barrier being there, I can feed off the energy of the wonderful fans here, and they can feed off my energy, and I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, might be something unexpected for some, but like you mentioned before, it's always better when things happen in a positive way, that you are not expecting them. So in that sense, something really cool that happened to you was that you also made your debut in Pro Wrestling Noah. You appear in the main event of the first Monday Magic show, primetime season. This is the current season, show run by Nosawa Rongai, and you competed there, teaming with another living legend, who is Minoru Suzuki. You wrestle against Kaito Kiyomiya and Tyrus Alexander. So, You mentioned Shinkiba has a really particular energy, but Shinjuku Face also has a really
Oh.
particular energy. So how was the experience? Your debut, main event, teaming with a legend, wrestling the ace of the arc, Kaito, and one of the best in the West Coast in Titus.
Yeah, I think it was another experience of what I mentioned before of this almost like not like calmness I had, like I had mentioned with wrestling Nick Wayne on Ring of Honor. Um, just understanding that I belong in this position and I'm here for a reason. And I think it translated very well once again to the fans' reception to me and to the fans' reception to me afterwards. Was very overwhelming, and I'm so grateful for how positive people were to me as a wrestler and as a man, as a person. Definitely was not expecting right when I came over here and when everything was settled to come over here for Marvelous that I would be, debuting for Pro Wrestling Noah in the main event of Monday Magic, the first one of this primetime season, especially tagging with someone as legendary as Minoru Suzuki. Uh, was able to learn a lot from him and learn a lot from the match and going toe to toe with Kaito and Titus as well. Like I said before, it's just it's another experience that I've added on to myself, and will continually to do so and just get better, get better, get better, get better. That's all it's about. And whatever's to come for the rest of the time that I'm here, I'm open to whatever it is, and I'm looking forward to a lot of really cool, great things that may or may not be happening.
Okay. Have you been there for a month and a half now?
Yeah, I've been living here for about a month and a half now.
Cool. So how has been your experience living in Japan so far?
I've been taking every advantage I can to go see any part of Tokyo I can, any part of the countryside I can. Obviously, reading, writing, training, lifting, wrestling, all that stuff comes first. And then once that's completed for the day, I'll figure out something to go do and just go experience the food, the people, the atmosphere. It's all been it's really another world out here. I'd say for about the first like week or two, it's definitely took a little bit of adjusting to being from New York. People are a lot different in Japan than they might be in New York City, but it's definitely been a very, very enjoyable experience for me.
Also, I want to go outside of wrestling a little bit. So
Mm,
you had one very big role last year when you appear on Clairo's music video for the song Juna. Uh,
yes.
she's a famous musician in, I would say now in the world. She was nominated for the Grammys last year, this year for her new album. And the video clip was oriented on pro wrestling. You appear with some of notable indie wrestlers from different places. So how was the experience, working in this video clip?
Yeah, I mean, that day in general was it's just a very long day, to be honest. But not in a negative way by any means. We got there to the building super early to discuss like what the directors of the video wanted and what Claire wanted for the video and stuff like that. My objective for that day was just to make sure that everybody felt comfortable in that space, which sounds kind of counterintuitive when we're slamming each other around and hitting each other all day. But making sure that the directors and the production people and Claire herself were all comfortable being around us and understood that we were here to help make this an enjoyable experience for them. In turn, we all had a wonderful experience. I think I can speak for everybody that was at Wrestling Open that day to help film that and make that a thing that it was definitely one of those very special days of my life. So thus far, where it was a day filled with work. I think I had 3 or 4 matches that day, basically, just for the video. I had to fill in at the end of the night after actually the event of Wrestling Open ended to film some more, and being able to bond with Claire and spend some time with her was very, very enjoyable, and I'm very, very grateful, and I wish her all the best. And clearly you can see that she's very, very talented and will continue to succeed in her own right.
Now, going in this, outside of wrestling, can you tell us about
Mm.
your hobbies and your daily life?
No, absolutely. Yeah. I kind of alluded to it a little bit before, right? But what's the best way for me to say this? A lot of people think I'm crazy. I am one of these people that is early to rise, spend some time in silence, meditate, pray, whatever you believe in. Go out, go to the gym, get a nice lift in, get a workout in, and just be present, right? And wherever you are, that's where you are, is what I believe. So I think it's really important to learn how to shut your internal dialogue off, stop thinking so much, and stuff like lifting and meditating and being present. And I'm a very, very avid reader. I read probably along the lines of 1 to 2 books a week, maybe 3 sometimes. When I'm not wrestling, when I'm not lifting, when I'm not experiencing with friends and family, or doing, unimaginable, insane things like music videos or wrestling and incredible people. I'm probably somewhere with a book reading and just learning. I'm very much, I wouldn't say obsessed with it. I'm not attached to anything, but I definitely enjoy just becoming more so I can show people what's possible. It's not about me, right? It's about showing others that anything that they desire is truly within their reach, as long as they're willing to be patient and put in the work.
I believe it's also important, to disconnect. I think you have a very good method. Not everyone can do it, so congratulations on that.
I said I 100% agree.
Great. I don't think you're crazy at all, so don't worry. Okay, returning to wrestling, you have been competing with some incredible people, especially in Japan, which is something really cool for you. But is there anyone from anywhere in the world that you haven't faced yet that you would like to compete with?
That's a very interesting question. I have been lucky enough to wrestle a lot of the top wrestlers in the world, especially on the independent scene right now. And those that work with maybe AEW, or some that might work with WWE now, or New Japan, and all these incredible places, right? I don't know if there's one specific wrestler that I would really like to tie up with again, or for the first time that I could think of off the top of my head. But I love wrestling. I want to experience as much as I can. So whoever is out there that thinks that they're the best and wants to test themselves against Fancy Ryan Clancy is someone that I am absolutely up to the challenge for. I think that my styling of wrestling and the way that I see and think about things, and the awareness that I've cultivated in the ring, and the ability that I have to inflict damage on my opponents, whether it be mentally, physically, emotionally, I don't think anybody sees wrestling like I do. So if there's anybody out there that does think that they have a leg up on me, that's the person that I want to wrestle.
Okay, seems fair. Now that you mentioned that you have a limited stay in Japan, and there's also been, if I'm not wrong, 1 or 2 dates announced for the summer when you return to the US. So what are your expectations for your return to the American scene?
Yeah, the first match that I will have back in the States is July 26th for West Coast Pro in San Francisco. I'll be competing in the Golden Gate Gauntlet. The winner of the Gauntlet match gets a title shot at a later date against their current Golden Gate champion, Brett the Threat. And I think really what I'm most looking forward to going back to the States is truly being able to show even more of my presence, right? Being in Japan is something that a lot of the legends of the past have gone through, and they've always added on to themselves and come back as more. So I think really more than anything, I'm excited to come back to America and just show that I did not take this few months that I lived here lightly, and I worked every day to my absolute hardest to get in better shape, to get my mind, body, soul all aligned and in the best possible condition that it can be in. And I think my actions in the ring, or my words speaking through, whether it be a Zoom call or a microphone, it's all going to speak for itself. There's going to be nothing that I have to prove. It's all going to just be shown. And I'm really looking forward to showing everybody what I got.
Okay, now complementing with this, after experiencing Japan, and you already have some commitments in the US, like you mentioned, first match is West Coast Pro on July. What would you say are your goals for the remaining of the year?
Yeah, we touched upon it earlier too. I would love to get back to Europe. Um, I would love to get back over there. The energy over there and the way the fans received me, I loved so much. We mentioned France earlier too. You know, the fans didn't particularly like me at first over there, and then as the match progressed, they couldn't deny it much longer. So I think just the challenge of France is very fun for me, and you know, all my experience that I've had all around Germany is definitely something I'm looking forward to getting back to. Um, I'm really looking forward to the match at West Coast Pro on the 26th because you know, I've been around the world. I've done a lot in Canada. I lived in Canada for a little bit, mostly primarily been on the East Coast. I think when I get home, I'm very much looking forward to spending some more time on the West Coast and just, like we said before, putting myself in a position to where maybe some people might not know me or may not have seen me, and where most people would feel uncomfortable. I look forward to just thriving and spending some more time out there and just being the best me I can be.
Perfect. Thank you for your time, Ryan. It's been a fancy time to have you here. Do you have any message for your fans watching this?
Yeah, I think that we touched upon a lot of really great things today, but if there's one thing anybody who listens to this can leave with, I really, really encourage every single person listening to just be you. I think that's the biggest thing that I want to leave people with. There's going to be a lot of people who judge you, who criticize you, and it may even be because of your positivity. They may feel a certain way because of the way you are, or the things that you like, or where you come from, or what you've experienced. And I want you to know, if you're listening, that everything that you've experienced and been through makes you who you are today. And who you are today is exceptional. Every single person. So just have the courage to be different and have the courage to be yourself. And the right people and right opportunities will always present themselves. I promise.
Thanks for sharing that. I believe it's important to always be yourself, no matter what, no matter who. So thank you for sharing that.
Of course. Thank you.
Ok, amigos, eso ha sido todo por hoy. Hasta la próxima.